Oh, well, hello everyone. I'm back. It is about 7:45 Monday night. We kind of got killed. That's alright. We were super slow during the day. What can I say? It's been an evening. And I guess it really hasn't. It's just I'm freaking exhausted because, I've been here for like 10 hours. But, well, not quite. Not quite. 9 hours and 45 minutes, I guess. Anyway, that wasn't really what I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about something I was thinking about the other day, and it's something I haven't really talked that much about, but a little bit. I've covered it, covered it in other vlogs a little bit. I want to talk a little bit more about books and where they're headed, I know there are a lot of people that are kind of saying, e-readers are going to be the next thing. And I don't know. I always wonder about that because it seems to me that an e-reader isn't... I guess you could do it on a tablet, but an e-reader is kind of like a small... I don't know, and I haven't seen, I don't have a Kindle. It's one of the things I've been wanting to get, but it's not like a real high priority for me because I still, read most things I read in print. I guess I'm kind of old school that way, but that was going to be my question, because am I old school? I mean, I do still see people reading, I talk about books and people at least know what I'm talking about, or sometimes they know somebody who's read the book that I'm talking about, and I do see kids walking around with books, I see people holding books, and I go to the library and I see people hanging out there and they are in fact reading. Because a lot of people have said that reading is kind of becoming a lost art, and it's definitely changing. The nature of it is changing. But, is it becoming a lost art, or is it just changing? And is it even changing as rapidly as we think? Because there's this weird way in which a lot of technologies that I grew up with really have become obsolete. Like, who the hell listens to anything on tape anymore? And why would you? Because they it's just, why would you? I mean, you have a phone and you listen to your music on your phone now. I mean, that's just what you do. And even if you don't have that, then you have an iPod or whatever. I don't even know if they sell iPods anymore, because what the hell's the point? You just have your smartphone and you have you have iTunes on your phone and you just listen to music that way. I mean, that's just what people do. Even CDs are pretty, people still do it, but it's pretty passe. Oh, hell, hang on, I gotta focus here. Alright. I really hate when intersections do this weird, no one's on green thing, and there's somebody waiting to cross and nobody's moving, and anyway. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. I had to pay attention to what I was doing. It's like audio cassettes. Audio cassettes are technology that just doesn't exist anymore. Network television. I mean, it does still exist, but even if you have nothing but network television, you have to have a digital scrambler thingy. You can't. Nobody just has a TV with rabbit ears and 2 dials on it. No one has that anymore. That's just not a thing. Dial-up modems, why would anybody have a dial-up modem? It was such a neat thing back in the day. It was oh, dial-up modem, yay, we need 2 phone lines now, and just gone, just completely gone. But books are still around. And I realize, you can go to a library and find a good set of print encyclopedias, but that's kind of gone away. A lot of reference materials that you can get online have kind of vanished. But books themselves, are still around. There's still bookstores, there's still libraries. In fact, there's more libraries around now than ever before. And I do still see people reading, and yes, people have e-readers, and yes, a lot of print publications are going the way of the dinosaur. In fact, I read somewhere, and I don't remember where the hell I read this. Please don't ask me to cite my source. Don't do the horrible thing that I do to everyone and say, oh, bullshit, cite your source. because I can't remember where I read this. I did read this somewhere though, that the largest print magazine still in circulation is Game Informer. That's it. That's the one that like is still being printed and published, and and yes, there's an online version of it, but it's the largest print magazine still. Not National Geographic, not People, not Life magazine, none of the big names that used to be, because print magazines used to be a thing. It was a big freaking thing, and nothing. I even heard somewhere, I don't remember where the hell I heard this, but I heard that Playboy is gonna like go full literary, like they're gonna be not, porn anymore. And even like, cause what's his name? Why can't I think of his name? Playboy dude. Old dude who's always surrounded by big-breasted women. Like, he made the point once that, he just said, like, I just have big-breasted women to sell my literary magazine. Like, I sell a literary magazine. The girls sell, or maybe what people buy it for, but the real content is the literature. And I heard somewhere they're just, because, what the fuck is the point anymore? If you want porn, you just get on your phone. get on your computer. Do whatever. Like, that's what people do now. So why would you ever buy a porn magazine? And I know I think they're still around. I can't, again, like, it was kind of this big mysterious thing to me when I was a teenager, because, there were the, like, seedy magazine shops, but, and those places are still there. I just haven't been in one in ages, because, why? Like, what would I go in there for? I mean, there's just no reason. So, yeah, so the nature of the thing is changing. I guess that's sort of the point that I am eventually coming to, is that the nature of the thing is clearly changing. But, print newspapers, those are just not going to be around much longer, I don't think. But books. I still see books everywhere. We have at least 2, like, just kind of dinky local bookstores here. Well, 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. And, of course, yes, there's Barnes & Noble, and I guess Borders isn't around anymore, but lots and lots and lots of print books are still available, both used and new, and they're still publishing print books. It's easier than ever now to find, like, vanity presses, if you're a writer and you want to publish both online and in print, easy peasy. You just pay somebody some money and bada boom, done, taken care of, problem solved. A lot of people say that's not really the way to go. I kind of say anymore, I think it is the way to go. I think self-publishing, I think publishing online, but what I really am sort of curious about is what is going to happen with the book as a medium, as a form of, what is going to happen to it, because the conventional wisdom is that it's going to die out. But, that's also been the conventional wisdom around console gaming too, that it's just going to die out in favor of PC gaming, and that hasn't happened either. When the 3DS came out, everybody was like, what's the point of a handheld gaming device anymore? Everybody has their cell phones, and that's what you do handheld gaming on. And there's definitely some truth to that, but the 3DS sold really well, so, in fact, people were kind of surprised, because they were like, wow, we didn't expect that, we thought nobody's going to buy a handheld, but Nintendo rolled with it, and it worked. And so again, I find myself kind of questioning when everybody says, well, the future of print is online and on a, you'll be looking at a screen. There may be that may be true, but I don't know. I don't know, because there are still so many printed books. Like, I don't have an e-reader, and I would like to get one. It's something I want to have, but it's not necessary. I don't suffer for want of stuff to read. There's plenty of stuff that I can read, and I think it would be handy. It'd be handy to have your entire library just on a single device, that doesn't take up any room. But it has not taken off the way that I think a lot of people thought it would. It's a popular thing, obviously, but it's not ever taken off the way that people thought, like, oh, by the early 2000s will be, print books will be a thing of the past. Well, no. Print books are still kind of a thing. And certainly when you get into all the stuff that's available online, it's kind of jaw-dropping. I mean, I've made this case, I've made the argument that I think people read more now than ever before. It's just a matter of what they're reading. Like fan fiction is a big thing now. It's always kind of been around, but, there weren't so many places where you could, like there's fanfiction.net that has just about every goddamn thing you can even think of. Like, it boggles my mind. I just stumbled into it one night. And, I was reading all these fan fictions by people, and it was like, oh my god, this is like... What amazed me is how much of it there was, just the sheer extent of it. There's like I started just looking up random, like, TV shows and video games and books, and, because there's all the things you would expect. There's Star Trek fanfic and Harry Potter fanfic and Kingdom Hearts fanfics, but just really obscure shit there's fan fiction for, like stuff that, like, I thought I was the only human being in the world. There's Babylon 5 fan fiction. And it's like, who the hell is writing all this stuff? But somebody is. I mean, somebody is writing all this stuff. And presumably somebody's reading it too. Like, that, it's fascinating. It's like, it's the one thing that makes me think maybe somebody will actually start watching my vlogs at some point, because it's got to be at least as interesting as, like, some of the Kingdom Hearts fan fiction I've read. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Some of that gets really interesting. But it just fascinates me how much of that stuff is available, how much of that stuff is around, and the fact that people are producing this stuff and that people are consuming it. It's really interesting to me. It's just really fascinating to me. And I wonder if a print version of a fan fiction thing would ever work. I used to write Star Trek fan fiction, and it wasn't quite fan fiction in that it was like, it was this ship that I had come up with. The characters were original. The ship was original. I even came up with a couple of alien races that were not canon to the Star Trek universe. Although I had them interact with other, like there were Vulcans and Romulans and Klingons and Ferengi and I just thought it would be, I don't know, it was just kind of a fun thing that I did. I never thought about, like, trying to get it published or trying to get anybody to read it, because for one thing, there's the whole copyright issue. Like, if you do something in the Star Trek universe, Paramount owns it, end of story. Like, you can't do something in that universe. But it also kind of fascinated me, and I people have done all these fan series now, which makes me wonder about what I could do with Star Trek fan fiction. See, now I'm getting ideas. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't get ideas about this stuff. But all of it kind of leads to the ultimate question of, like, even if the print word is dying, and I don't think it's dying as quickly as everybody thinks. Like, in a century, I think there are still going to be books, believe it or not. I really do. I really think there's just something about it. It's just we're not quite getting away from it, So it's still going to be a thing. And by that, I mean, of course there's going to be books, but I mean, there will be paper books, there will be print books. I really think that. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. I'm going to get some groceries, get some dinner, and call it a night, and I will see you guys tomorrow.